Welcome to the Moto Academy News. I'm your host, Local A Class. Today's top story, does pineapple belong on pizza? But first, we're going to take it to Local A Class in the garage for a breaking story. Thank you, Local A Class. This is Local A Class reporting from the garage. So I spent all day at the track yesterday, and I had someone tell me that because I'm riding a 450, I must be lazy. So my question to you is, does a 450 in fact make you lazy? Or does it just seem easier because the bike has more power? Back to you in the studio. Thank you, Local A Class, for that breaking story. Tune in next time to find out if the real GP really does have a teleprompter. Thank you and good night.
Does the real GP really have a teleprompter? That's the question of the day, Local A Class. Love it. Creative entry. I always love, we should probably give away a award at the end of each year on who has the most creative video submissions, because I love seeing those. That's awesome. Okay, question. What was the question? First of all, pineapple on pizza. I'm for it. I like me a little Hawaiian pizza action. Second question, 450 doesn't make you lazy. Good girl. Go ahead. Don't swat it. Yes, it absolutely can. I think that a 450 is, for the most part, for most people, would be a good supplemental bike. Depending on height and weight, for example, a 450 would not be a bike I would want to ride all year round, all the time, without having another bike. I think it's nice for me to be able to hop on Supercross on a 250. And then when I go outdoor, be in a 450. I think for me, that's a good balance to be able to work on aggression and riding a bike a little harder, having to work a little harder, having to shift a little more, especially like when you get my straight rhythm bike and ride a 125. I always forget I have a 125 also. The 125 is like, other than a pit bike, it's the most physically demanding thing you could do, because you are shifting 50 times a lap instead of 2 or 3 on a 450, or sometimes 0. You've got to shift while standing up, which is pretty complex sometimes. You got to shift multiple times for straightaway, just the downshift a second later. And I think that's good practice. I think when you ride a 450 all of the time, you lose a little bit of that. Same thing like on the electric bikes where you see the Stark. You could put the rear brake up on the handlebar and you never have to shift, and you never have to use the rear brake. So it's taking factors away from it. I think to some extent that's fun. But I think it's good to supplement with a bike that's maybe sometimes more difficult to ride. But there's also tracks where the 450's a hunk of a bike to try to control. Like on some Supercross tracks, that the 450 was way harder to ride. Sometimes even dangerous. So, yeah, I think that generally speaking, can you say 450 makes you lazy? I would say no, but there's definitely truth to that statement. And I always tell people that if you have the ability to be able to purchase multiple bikes, then supplementing something else with your 450 is absolutely the move. Good girl. Man, I tell you what, she can't make up her mind whether she's hungry or wants to sleep.
I'm your host,
Whoa. Local A Class, good question. Great question. Don't let them tell you you're lazy. If you guys enjoyed this podcast clip and you want to listen to full episodes, make sure you go download them on Spotify and Apple Music. If you want to watch full episodes or be a person that sends in your own video submission, go to club.themotoacademy.com and subscribe to join the Moto Academy family today.